Hey. Just wanted to jump in and kind of do a little masculinity conversation with I guess we're featuring Michael Jai White. Okay. Let's see what he got to say.
Yeah, they're awesome. In New Zealand.
Oh yeah, another hotbed.
Oh yeah,
another hotbed for fighters. Well, just warrior cultures,
Yeah, so absolutely, yeah.
Warrior history to those places.
I've never met an Australian that I didn't like.
I know they're the nicest
so
fucking people.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah, they're the coolest people. They're friendly, easygoing.
Yeah, you have rites of passage still.
Mm-hmm.
You know, places like that. You know, I mean, that's one thing that is sad about United States. It's like we're not making men anymore.
Not a lot of them.
No.
When they are, they stand out.
Yeah, you know, that's why it's like a lot of times in these movies, if you have an alpha male, a lot of times that American alpha male is being played by an Australian or somebody from
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, it's so it's like it's very rarely an American.
No.
It's like such a trip, man.
Well, masculinity is demonized here for some strange reason over the last couple of decades.
Bro, I saw the beginning of a lot of it because, you know, like I said, I was a school teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And I was right on the forefront seeing, like, everybody gets a trophy, you know, protect it. I'm like, come on. And, you know, taking away competition.
Yeah.
I saw the beginning of that shit. And it's just so bad. And then these kids don't know how to deal with loss or anything, and then they end up shooting the classroom.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, dealing with loss is one of the most important lessons you could ever learn. If you want to get better, lose.
Yeah.
Losing is the best medicine because you lose. I don't ever want to feel that again. And then you start thinking about all the things that you cut corners on, all the things that you didn't do. What can I do differently to make sure that never happens again, that I never feel that feeling? Or you quit. Those are the two options.
Yeah.
Either you get way better or you quit. But winning, sometimes you don't learn. You know, you go, well, I'm doing the right thing. I'm winning. I'm getting better. I'm developing confidence. That's good. But, man, sometimes a loss is the best medicine.
Yeah, man, I realized something. Yeah, man, I realized something when I was, you know, I was born with some gifts. Okay, I did one thing that got me into college is decathlon. As a fluke, I jumped into a race against one of the fastest guys on the track team and beat him, right? And that was just a fluke. And the coach saw that. The track coach saw that and was like, "Oh my God, you're fucking running for the school!" And I was like, "Oh, okay." I was just like, I didn't have any kind of adult that took a liking to me like that. And the next thing you know, I'm on the track team, and I started. I mean, I was really good. And then I wound up going to college because of that. And incidentally, that's the stuff that really kind of taught me to kind of evolve my martial arts. Because nowhere is there a benefit of like cutting off fractions of seconds in movement like track. Like when I'm doing the shot put. Well, a lot of times I was competing against people that were ginormous, and all they had to do is stick their arm out, and their arc was going to be better than mine. Well, I had to generate enough power to go at a 45-degree angle and in inertia and all that to get past them. And with running, of course, if you shoot the gun off, all your motion has to go forward. If you go backward, you're going to be a step behind everybody. So as far as efficiency of motion, all the things I had to do with track, I started applying in fighting. And that's what kind of gave me cheat codes into things.
Okay. And one thing I want you guys to get from that was that obviously he was already doing some kind of martial arts and everything when the coach of the high school took a liking to him. But it also gave him pride and gave him confidence even more in himself and his ability and stuff by, you know, competing in track and raising himself to another excellent level and stuff. Masculinity is that way too. You know what I mean? They say they were talking about how Australia is. Michael Jai White said he's about to go on a tour in Australia because, people know him a lot in Australia, and he does like signing and lectures and stuff like that while he's over there. But they were talking about they're just great people in Australia, and Michael Jai White brought up that it's still a rite of passage, meaning that you got to earn your keep. You know what I mean? In Australia and in America, is we got weaker men here, and we kind of deflated. But Joe Rogan brought up pretty much the number one thing of insight that we probably should equate into the demise of manhood and masculinity in America is that it is frowned upon. It is not a good thing to be masculine in America. Okay. So, a lot of people got to understand that the deflating of men have been going on for 40 to 50 years. Okay. Us having conversations online and men deciding to talk about it and everything. That's like the last 5 years. Most men, if they had an issue with the society and that their the allegations and all kind of stuff because of the masculinity of a man just by his appearance and how he choose and or how he kind of like just decides who he wants in his life and who he don't want in his life. The counteracting of it was to if men don't submit to the femininity of society or subdue his masculinity, then we're going to use the weapon of allegations. And all men are observing this, and they taking a step back in modern time. But in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, and the early 2000s, what happened was you're competing for jobs against women, you know what I mean? And if you kind of be a barbaric person and you don't allow women to get jobs and you start to stereotype the situation or be discriminatory about women having jobs, it was like a overwhelming destruction of companies. This like happened in the last couple of years. Like most companies would lose business. They would actually get like boycott and everything if they were anti-woman. You know what I mean? So it made men had to take a step back. But in the overhaul of the last 40 years, women are coming out now saying that men are weak because they took that step back. And I don't think you can repair it. I literally feel like you have the baby boomers, Generation X, and you had the millennials. And really, those three generations are so neutered. We can't step back into masculinity. You got to hope that Generation Z watch how weak men are, like their uncles and their cousins and maybe their parents, father or something, and they fight against that. And they just say, I don't like that. And all the men conversations that are having online, and you hope that boys that are 14 and high school age and stuff like that are watching it, and they go into their college years to say, hey, we got to have a little bit more manhood going on and stop walking around and reacting to things that favor the way that women want us to react to it. We got to somehow still be men, still be boys. You get what I'm saying? So the reason why I mention that is because masculinity is very important. If you don't like how our society is, how it is right now, understand the only difference between the last 40 to 50 years is we're talking about the suppression and the dilution of manhood. And the masculinity that must be in day-to-day function, and men are talking, posturing, behaving in the likeness of what women would tolerate and what what women validate to be correct. And you can't really do that. You know what I'm saying? It's really, manhood is what it is. We got a primal state, and then we got what, even in a civilized situation where you can't really go below this behavior or against this behavior, because you won't even be a man if you do that. You're not really on reflex ready to respond in the way that men should respond. So that's why you see a lot of men, they don't innately respond on reflex in the ability of men. You know what I mean? I always tell people, men have the Alexander syndrome in them. I don't care if you think a guy is a loser, he's weak, he's feeble, or whatever you may think about him, he's broke, he's pathetic, or whatever. All men naturally and innately have the Alexander syndrome inside of them. What suppresses that Alexander syndrome, if you know Alexander the Great, he's a conqueror, and he was pretty much a high profile ruler of all, so all men have that innately. I don't care who he is. If it's in us innately. And if you're not seeing it on a day-to-day basis, if you're not seeing it in your lives and your relationships and stuff like that, it's because it's suppressed. And the way that he's thinking about things is for exterior perceptions instead of understanding his own accuracy and his own reality. You get what I'm saying? And what it takes to overcome your own reality. So we got to do a lot of hardwiring for a lot of men, but I don't think you can really do it, because most of the problem is men that are 18 to 55 years old. That's a hell of a range. And to correct that, it's going to be really, really hard, So, good that we having a conversation like Michael Jai White and them and all that stuff like that, but even the way that they're talking about it is a lost cause. You get what I'm saying? So hopefully, men understand that you are the direction. You are your worst enemy, and you are your own protector and your savior. Not other men, not the advice of other men. You pretty much, if you got a 9th grade education, you got pretty much understand how to comprehend what you need to do in your own life and what decisions you need to make. But you got to be able to create an individual perspective to give yourself an individual self determination. And what an individual perspective is you don't lie to yourself. You don't lie to yourself. You vet everything your family say, everything your community say, everything your favorite politician, your favorite musician, your favorite movie star, culture, whatever. You vet it, and you never ingest it, and you never apply it in your life unless you know that it's true. And then by knowing what the truth is, you're able to emote and communicate with determination and absolution. That's what being a man is, and that's what having an individual perspective is. But I know, I just wanted to come in and kind of give a little point of view to the commentary that Michael Jai White talked about. Okay, guys, we'll see you on the next one, okay?